In our previous Bible verse for the day, we looked at the meaning of the word Antichrist. And the Apostle John put it plainly when he said, "He is Antichrist that denies the Father and the Son." We also briefly touched on the scriptures that refer to a character who will emerge in the end time, who will rule the entire world and require everyone who wants to buy or sell anything to receive his mark either in their forehead or in their right hand. And that mark was the number 666. I'd like to briefly mention here the name of a very interesting person who lived in the 16th century from 1503 to 1566, a Frenchman by the name of Michel de Nostradamus, more commonly known as Nostradamus. Nostradamus' family was originally Jewish but converted to Catholicism just before he was born. Catholicism was the main voice for Christianity at that time. Nostradamus is best known for his book Les Prophéties, or in English, The Prophecies, which were a collection of 942 poetic quatrains allegedly predicting future events. A quatrain is a poetic stanza consisting of 4 lines each. We're not going to get into the specifics of what Nostradamus wrote, except for the fact that in his book he foretold 3 antichrists. He names them as Napoleon Roy, Hitler, and the last one, Mabus. Now, I realize that some Bible prophecy teachers out there might get upset about the fact that we're mentioning Nostradamus here, but I think it's noteworthy that 2 of the 3 names that he mentioned as antichrists have already come to pass since he wrote those prophecies, Napoleon and Hitler. Could it be that the 3rd antichrist that Nostradamus wrote about is the same character that John wrote about here in the book of Revelation? The same world ruler who will require everyone to take his mark, 666? And this brings us to our Bible verse for today, which is found in Revelation chapter 13, verses 1 and 2. And it says, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." And the next verse says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth was as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and authority." So these 2 verses are extremely important in understanding the nature of what lies ahead for the world today. Before we continue here, we have to remind ourselves that Peter, the disciple of Jesus, said, knowing this first, that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. This means that if we speculate about any of these prophetic passages and we say that we think this verse means that or that verse means this, it's only speculation. It's guesswork, and we might be wrong in our interpretation of these verses. So as we proceed, it's important to realize that because these things have not yet happened, that our interpretation might not be correct. Okay, with that in mind, you might ask, well, why should we even read these passages? The reason we should read and study them is because they're written down right here in the Bible. Obviously, to the Apostle John from Jesus via an angel, which is stated in the very first verse in the book of Revelation, which tells us that these are not the revelations of John, but they are the revelations of Jesus passed on to John. It says, "The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John." So to answer your question about whether or not we should be reading these passages, the answer is yes. That's why God gave them to us. And as we get closer and closer to the fulfillment of these prophecies and to the coming of the one world leader that these verses are describing, the meaning will come more and more into focus. We invite you to join us again soon as we discuss the meaning of Revelation chapter 13, verses 1 and 2, and what it signifies. And if you'd like to keep up on all the latest that we're putting up on our channel, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and press the notifications button.